Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to the Me Vision Academy session here. We are going to present a special award of successful leadership to a leader called Roger Sithole. We'll introduce him in a moment, and after doing so, we will interview him on the very reasons why the award is given to him. So that will follow after showing this incredible exclusive award. For almost a quarter century, we've interviewed and worked with top leaders, senior leaders. We've written a few books and articles, hundreds, in fact. It's been an interesting ride. And all of this over the years have culminated into what we call Me Vision Academy. And one of our core purposes is exactly what we're going to do today. We seek for and we find successful leaders. We celebrate and recognize them. We learn from them by interviewing them and sharing that with the world. And we help other leaders also get to that point of successful leadership. So today we welcome Roger Sithole, who is chairman and co-founder of One Connect. We'll pin him in a moment. There he is. We'll very soon enlarge him as we do the actual interview. I just want everyone to see some of his colleagues have joined us. It's so amazing. Rogers is also the MD of One Connect Education. He's got a passion to democratize education across, well, I don't know how far, Rogers, the continent, the world. I think it's a wonderful concept and look forward to hearing a little bit about that. So the colleagues, welcome all of you that have been on this journey with Rogers to lesser or larger degree. It really is wonderful to have you. If anyone else joins us, we'll let them in as well. So it's wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us. I'm going to pin Rogers. I've learned this trick, so we make him nice and big. And then us having the conversation, we will also put ourselves on the screen. We'll be having a conversation on leadership. But first, we're going to show you the award. I'm going to share screen. We do not share this reward lightly. We do not hand it out lightly. Let's get this right here. Exit that. There we go. An exclusive recognition of successful leadership awarded to Roger Sithole. Why? Why are we doing this? Invariably, as leaders that we've known for a while, and in time, the expansion will require other criteria. But right now, for Roger Sithole to have done what he's done as a leader and an entrepreneur, he would have had to, and he has been consistently leading himself successfully, consistently leading people successfully. You don't get to where he is from nothing to something without also consistently mobilizing and leading people. Successfully founding and then leading One Connect for over a decade, now as chairman, and successfully handing it over to a CEO to take it further, which is quite amazing. Successfully impacting society in various roles. Rogers is not just involved with One Connect, but on various fronts. And then his commitment to mentoring, inspiring future successful leaders. And then signed by one of the co-founders, and that's Me Vision Academy, the purpose of Me Vision Academy, doing what we're doing today. So, Rogers, maybe the others can clap, well done. We've known you for a few years. We really commend you. We mean it. It's something that people of large organizations can receive. Smaller, it's not really the size of the organization, it's the size of the person and the achievement that they've managed to do. Well done.
Thank you so much. It's wow. It's incredible. I really appreciate it, highly appreciate it. I did not expect it. So Adrian, I really appreciate it. I really do appreciate the recognition.
Very important for us is to talk to you about these different elements, leading self, leading others. So we're going to go kind of through that systematically, but we will jump around. We really believe you could not be where you are if you didn't lead yourself successfully, lead people successfully. We are going to acknowledge, and there's no doubt if we ask your team members whether you're a perfect leader, they'll say no. If we ask your wife if you're a perfect husband, no. Well, the point is no leader. You would expect the CEOs of countries to be perfect eventually after all the experience. They're not perfect. So we're not giving this award because you're perfect, but we're giving it to you because you recognize, and society does not recognize successful leadership enough. We do not celebrate it enough in a world that needs it desperately. So let's just kick off with leading yourself. What have you learned? What are the key components of leading yourself? What's worked for you? Maybe what hasn't? But specifically, when I say lead self, what comes to mind?
I think for me, that's the building block, isn't it? I think nothing else will work, or nothing else will happen if you cannot lead self. And leading yourself, we're faced with challenges, diverse challenges in life in general. And it's important that you can be able to navigate all those challenges that you face in life. I don't come from a well-off environment, actually, for anything but does it mean that I was the smartest, I was the cleverest, it doesn't mean that. It means that under the circumstances that were thrown my way, and many have, I'm sure you've interviewed quite a lot of people, many have had to face those challenges, and it's how you can get yourself to be determined and to have a clear, almost laser focus vision as to where you want to go, and you drive yourself towards that. And it's important that you don't necessarily forget where you come from, but you need to be aware of your context, but never lose sight of where it is that you need to be going. That's one. Two, you need to, as an individual, you need to have specific values that you need to believe in, and those values must be entrenched within you, and you must never compromise them. And if you can get that, get yourself not to compromise the values that you have as an individual, that will help you as you face and as you move, whether you're facing success or you're facing challenges in life, which both surely do come. Challenges surely do come, and successes as well will eventually come. But if you don't have those values that determine almost who you are as an individual, then you're not gonna get far. You will meet, and I've met quite a lot of people in life, in my short little life, that would want to swing you either way. And you need to be able to recognize quickly and realize quickly as to where do I want to go to. Never lose sight of where your vision and goal is, and also to remember what your values are, and you must not compromise in those. And if you can lead that, you can have that discipline of getting yourself to move when failure comes, not if. When failure comes, you need to be able to remind yourself as well, okay, cool, so one of my values says, and then you tap onto that value and you dust yourself up and you learn from that. You write down what you've learned, once more laser focus, and you keep moving. I think for me that's what I see it as, and that's what has been for my life, and I continue to be like that. I've prided myself of being a very self-motivated individual. It's interesting how I can dust myself up. I mean, I can dust myself up and move forward. I'm self-motivated, I'm self-driven, and not just the words as cliches, but because I've got an appreciation of who I am as an individual, and I've got an appreciation of what's possible in the world amidst the challenges that we face. So self leading self is the basic for me. It's the base. Nothing else is the building block. It's the critical building block for everything else that you can be able to achieve from a leadership perspective.
Did you always know from young that you will be an entrepreneur, that you will build your own business, or was that something that happened coincidentally, or was that part of, you saw it coming? Because you went and studied, what did you study? You studied sort of technology.
Yeah. No, I would be lying if I said I knew that was the case. I mean, growing up from a from a disadvantaged family that I grew up from, the main aim. My father was a teacher. The aim is you need to go to school. You need to get a qualification. and you need to get a job, and you need to be able to work through that
Yeah.
job and get yourself into a comfortable position to be able to support your family. That's what
The
was
premise.
entrenched in my mind.
Yeah.
That was that. So starting a business was wow. That was way far for me. It was about being able to support my family. I mean, I remember my first year at university. Um, uh, I studied computer science at Wits, and my first year, my dad got retrenched. And I had to make a decision at that year. Well, I didn't make a decision. The old man made a decision for me. But in the conversations with him, I was like, I need to go find a job so we can be able to provide for the family, because you're no longer employed. His words still ring in my mind today. That I'm the man of the house. You're a child in this house. You must go to school. I will figure out what we eat on a daily basis. And I think for me that was incredible of him. So went to school under those circumstances. I was able to get through school, got a job, and started working. And as I worked, I'm always an inquisitive guy. I'm extremely inquisitive. Those that know me know that I ask a lot. I always question stuff. And because of that, I saw an opportunity in the space in which I am in, which is IT. I saw an opportunity with the guys that I was working with, that they were not providing a specific service, and I felt that is something that could be done in the region, and it could be of great value. And I went back to them and asked them we asked them for a contract to help provide the support services in the country, because they were an international company. And funny enough, they agreed, and we grew from there. But what then remained, we didn't just remain there as a business. Started to always once more started questioning, okay, what happens if these guys go under? We needed to build a business, take the money, put it back into the business, grow the business, open new lines of business, to a point we are today as a business, which I'm really proud of the achievements that the company has been able to achieve. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I mean, I was thinking as you were speaking earlier about your values and knowing where you're heading, and the context of where you come from, that ultimately for every individual in the country, in the world, it's as if the pressures of life ultimately sink down and settle on an individual's shoulders. The economy out there, the political instability, the social inequalities, this, that. It ultimately settles on an individual's shoulders who's looking after a family. And those pressures are not easy to navigate and to handle and to process. We're seeing much more emotional instability in the world. People are more unhappy. There's an unhappiness scale or happiness scale that they've been researching for the last 10 years. People are more unhappy now than they've ever been, even though the world is so amazing in many ways. So yeah, leading self, as you say, that's the building block. Every person being self-motivated, you mentioned. I mean, if we're not, I think we may be in trouble, because if we depend on others to motivate us, it might be a very challenging life. Leading people, you cannot be where you are. I know you're a people's person, and we'd like to know what you've learned. What are the key components of leading people, of getting people to perform and be happy and everything? What have you learned there? What mistakes have you made, maybe? But your key learnings.
I've made plenty of mistakes. I think I still believe I do make mistakes. Even yesterday, we had a board meeting. I think I made mistakes even in our board meeting yesterday. I think for me, leading people is the most satisfying thing for me. And I look at what the businesses we've been able to achieve as a business. But if I look at the people I've met in my career, in my short career, the impact they've had on me individually, the brotherhood, sisterhood, friendships that I've created with the individuals that I've come across with. Some of whom are in this conversation here. For me, it's been incredible. The one critical thing, leadership. It's not about you taking the glory. I've been into meetings where I was the CEO of the company and we're a customer, but that customer just seemed quite focused with one individual in the team, who was not. I was the senior most individual in that environment, but the customer almost connected with one person. And I think there's maturity that is required at that moment in time, where you recognize that it's okay. he or she's the man for the conversation, and you push them forward and you let them guide the conversation and make the customer comfortable. It's about recognizing that. It's about recognizing the fact that you don't know everything. It's about recognizing that you're imperfect. It's about recognizing that not even the people that you are leading are perfect. Although you strive for perfection, we all do that. We all want the best out of everybody. I push my team. They some of them they've told me that they know this. I push, but it's about understanding what their capabilities are and how far more can you push them. And it's about giving people chances. Our finance director in the business, it's a young lady. I'm saying it's a young lady, but it's a lady who started her first job with us. I remember her dad meeting her with her dad for an interview, and she's grown through the. She's been with the business for 14 years almost, and she's our finance director in the business. It's about giving people chances. The people that are surrounding, that are leading the organization, are people that somebody else might not have given them chance because they don't have X and Y or whatever those things that you think they need to be having. It's about seeing just beyond what is being presented to you, and for me, that has been the greatest of joys, seeing people flourish, seeing people become amazing individuals in their own spaces. For me, that has been absolutely incredible. And that's one thing about being in a leadership position. The bottom line obviously counts. Shareholders are interested in that, but seeing the development of people, seeing they become something that they themselves don't even think they could become. For me, has been amazing. We have got I've got an individual who's leading a line of business. Is a managing director of one business. He had ideas, but he didn't think himself it could be possible. And for him to leave full-time employment and come and have that startup and be able to drive that business, it was a mental block for him. But when he did that in an environment where he could be supported, he has become something else. I mean, we're having a conversation about him yesterday where one of our customers is I was talking about praising him, how incredible he is as an individual. And you couldn't pick it up. And I think for me, it's always looking for those nuances in people, trusting that they can do and letting them be. Just to take a little step, in 2019, when I stepped down as the CEO of OneConnect and I brought in a CEO into OneConnect, it was one of the most difficult things that I could do. I remember at business school, they said startup companies have got a shelf life where the entrepreneur is absolutely the best thing that the company could have. And then it gets to a phase where he becomes the worst thing that the company could have. And those companies tend to die at that point. And it becomes quite difficult for entrepreneurs to recognize that moment where that, this thing is your baby. You look at it as your baby. And it needs to be at that time where it no longer needs an entrepreneur. It needs a manager. It needs a business manager, somebody that can take that business to the next level. You need an MBA. You need somebody who's street smart. You need a salesperson who's going to drive the sales. You need people that are smart with numbers that are going to make sure that the bottom line is the way that it should be. It no longer needs you, but it takes quite a lot of maturity for you to recognize that and trust that others can be able to run your business. So it was quite a challenge for me, having to let go and have somebody else run the business and have other people run the business, and then take a role of a chairman of the organization where we're leading the strategy of the company, where we want to go. But I think it was the best decision that we've made for the business, because the business has grown in leaps and bounds since that decision was taken. So yeah, sorry, I think I said quite a mouthful there.
If you look with hindsight, then obviously, if it wasn't a good call, it will be difficult for you to say it. Yeah, but it sounds like you got that timing right. Sounds like you got it right, and probably because you're a people's person to some degree. So, old man, maybe unmute quickly your comments before I make an observation on. I moved on from leading self. Sorry, if you wanted to comment or ask Rogers a question?
Well, Rogers, knowing you personally for several years, on other levels, it really rings authentic, the things you've been saying. And in all our meetings and coaching of top leaders, what you say really rings authentic. Thank you for that. The foundation of your what we call the me vision, in other words, who you are and your potential, and also in your case, your affinity with divinity has played a vital role and still is. So the way you explain it just rings true in harmony with so many people we've worked with over the ages. I really am enjoying having a session with you. Thanks, Audrey.
Part of your values there, yes. I remember knowing you in another setting, and then the first time walking into your offices, which was close to Monte Cassino area, somehow, I don't know. And you know how you know someone, but you actually don't know them. When I walked in there, and we walked past reception, past several offices, and I saw the people and the hum there, and the busyness, and I think Andre may have been in that very first meeting. I was in awe, and maybe it's because sometimes you think you know people, and to realize you've become a successful businessman under my nose without realizing it almost, because you weren't walking around telling everyone about it. But I just remember being so impressed. All these people who you've given opportunities to grow, and I sense that passion in you. When we talk now, and you talk about the business, that's fine. Talk about values. When you talk about giving people opportunity, there's a different energy that comes into the Zoom meeting. And I have sensed that in your life. So very interesting, though, Rogers, if I may take this moment, and I won't do it I've done it with a few leaders we've interviewed, is I've discovered in leadership there's this list of P's, words that start with a P in leadership. There's leaders seek power in leadership. They need power to get things done. Unfortunately, that power becomes good and bad. A lot of leaders seek that power through position. There's the first P. They seek the power through popularity, very much in politics, maybe. They seek the power through prestige. In academics, maybe you often find that, I'm a PhD, I'm a professor, whatever. They seek the power through prosperity. So the more possessions I have, another P, the more power I have to exert on people. They seek it through performance. So the more I perform, the more I'll get position, the more I'll grow in my organization, the more I'll have more power. They seek it through profits. But then along comes these other P's called purpose and called people. And I don't know where you prioritize people, because you're an entrepreneur. Now you're the chairman. So when you're the chairman, you've got to look at the shareholder value. You've got to look at some broader issues. But do you think leaders are prioritizing people high enough on that list of P's?
Well, it's a mistake if they're not. But what I've seen, obviously, many organizations, the bottom line or the profits, it's what matters. In our organization, I remember our HR or chief of people. I don't know what's the right word again. Is chief capital officer? I don't remember.
Chief people officer or something. Yeah.
Chief people officer. I remember speaking to her, and I told her that you although you work for the organization, but you represent the employees of the organization. It's important that we're not unionized as a business, but our HR manager, she is responsible, and she represents the people of the organization, because they are the most important capital for us. We in our space, our people, man, I can make the statement that I take away our people, I'll hire more people. There's quite a lot of IP, there's quite a lot of experience, there's quite a lot of value that they bring into our organization, the culture within the company itself, what we stand for, the solutions, the services that we provide. It's ultimately the connectors, we call them connectors, the connectors that we have that make that possible. So for us people, I think in our board meeting yesterday, it took, we spent quite a lot of time where she presented to us, and we had quite a lot of conversations about our people, what it is that we're doing for our people. If you look at, businesses, we came out of COVID, people are working from home. All what we're interested in is productivity. How much many more hours can I get from you? The productivity has shot up or shot down. That's the measure they're utilizing. Nobody's talking about the wellness of those employees, the mental health. For us that matters. We need to make sure that, from where we're coming from, how are we making sure that our employees are still okay? They're still fine. They still feel at home. I mean, we got a message this morning from one of our employees, which was a stunning message. So I'm not gloating, but I'm just showing that for us as a business, our people are top. And when people are happy and they are in the right space, profits will follow. You don't have to worry or fight with people for productivity. They will do it. I remember years back, somebody said, how do you get people to do work? Do you get them, you want them to work because they fear you, or you want them to work because they like you? People can do work because of duty. They have to do it. They get paid month end. But the moment you bring in that sense of ownership in the people, the moment they feel like this is their thing, it's theirs, they will defend it, and they will go the extra mile that is needed to be gone. And that has got automatically impact on profits. So you will see the profits, all those dominoes will just fall in nicely. But if you don't care for your people, they will never stay. They will always be grumpy. They will jeopardize the business. They will mess up the brand of the company. And you don't want all of that. You want people that, when they're wearing, your brand, they wear it proper in their hearts, and they're representing, and they know that this is home for them. This is a place where they care, and they want to work for us. So for me, it should be at the top of every organization as a KPI, and that in turn should affect the rest of the other P's that are important as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. Often you then move away from the leading self, leading people, then leading organization. So people, individuals, and teams form part of an organization, of course. But when you look at leading organization, what have you discovered there? So that's more the systems, processes, procedures, the money, the budgets, balancing all that, structures, buildings, and all of that with the people. But when you bring it together, what have you learned from that? Eventually you hand it over to a guy that could manage those things better than you maybe could moving forward. And you're the idea man, you're the vision man. What have you learned about leading organization?
What I've learned is that it's critical. It's very critical for you to surround yourself with people that know. I think there has to be a strategy. People make a mistake of putting structures first before strategy, which is totally wrong. You need to have a clear vision as an organization, and you need to have a strategy that needs to be, showing how we're going to go for that. That's what we want to do. How are we going to do it? And then get people that are going to be able to take that strategy and implement it. If you don't do that, if you're not clear as to what the vision of the organization, vision and mission of the organization is, you don't have a strategy as an organization, you're not going to be able to go anywhere as a company. And then once you've got those, then you'll put the structures, and then you'll put the processes, then you'll put the procedures, you'll put all of those things. They need to be in place, obviously. And that's what will get an organization to be successful. There are measures for an organization. In our case, we partner. We've got international partners that we work with, and that's important. Those relationships are important. We've got customers that are our partners that see us as partners. We've got big customers that are way bigger than us as an organization, that are our partners, and how we engage with them, the relationship you have with them, the culture you create within the organization, success and not success, excellence needs to be part of your DNA as an organization. And once you set those and you drive those and you've got the right people, then organizations will flourish. Obviously, when I say you need to have the right people, you need to have the right people for the right things. Some organizations make mistakes once more, saying, I'm going to get people in and then I'm going to create structures around the people. That's the wrong thing. We don't hire people. We don't hire people so we can determine what structures should be. So that flow through that I spoke about, have a clear vision, mission. You need to be clear as to what you are, define a strategy, and then get the people that are going to be able to implement the strategy. Not the other way around. Don't get people and then put a strategy on top to feed the people that you have. It should not be like that. As much as people are important, you need to have the right people within the organization. That's important. Numbers don't lie. In our finance group, we've got something that says numbers don't lie, and they generally don't. So it's another KPA or KPI that's quite critical that you need to keep your eye on. You need, as an organization, the worst damage you can have for you is for you not to be able to pay your employees, for you not to pay your suppliers. It can have lasting damage on you. But at the same time, if you ask any business, if you ask an entrepreneur, even large corporations, cash flow is the biggest worry that many organizations have. And therefore, keeping an eye on that, having strategies that can manage cash flow, it's important. Another thing that maybe corporates that have got better structures, they've got boards, etc. They've got those are nice and easy, but other organizations, smaller organizations, don't tend to think about risks. Keeping a risk register, a basic thing like that, keeping a risk register. It's quite important because you need to understand as a business what are your risks. It could be cash flow, that's a risk. It could be competitive risk. It could be employees or key individuals within the organization. It could be the fact that whatever product or service that you're selling, it may be coming to an end of life. Are you aware of all of this? And you need to have those risks. And if you keep a risk register and don't lie to yourself, I think it's important not to lie to yourself. We tend to want to be that animal that puffs itself up sometimes. It's okay, there are times for those, but there are important moments when you are sitting together inside the organization, you need to tell the truth and you need to look at the business as it is. So I'm saying numbers don't lie, and you look at the numbers and then you once more you bring up strategies to improve on areas that need to be improved. But if you don't do that as an organization, you're gonna lose control of the business. The business is gonna die. Ultimately, you're gonna contribute to unemployment rate that is so rife in the country, and we don't want that. We want more successful businesses. We want more small businesses start up, more SMMEs. We want them. We want. I'm really happy when I hear that somebody's starting a business. Because I know that one or two people are going to be employed through that. And that's what we need for us to be able to deal with the rife unemployment rate that we have in the country. So for me, just, in an unstructured manner, that's how I would put it, how you need to lead an organization. And those key structures in an organization are important.
Those are powerful.
Others will say, do I need to have a board, with external directors? Yeah, if you feel that, and there must be a sense of maturity as well. An external person will tell you the truth. And sometimes you need that. You may need a non-executive director and independent directors to be part of your board. Actually, it's good corporate governance if you do that. King speaks about that, especially for larger organizations. He speaks about having an NED as part of your board. But you must always have someone that can tell you the truth. I always have an older person. The ones that are my age, they tend not to tell me the whole truth because they still want to be my friend. But I've got old men that are my friends, and they normally talk a lot of nonsense. Sometimes I get irritated with them, but they always tell you the truth. And you need to have that someone in your life that will always tell you the truth as you're leading an organization. Someone that has done it, someone that has walked the path, that has done it.
Some real gems there. Before I ask you one or two more questions, one being, what are you doing to mentor future leaders? It's fine for us to hand these certificate awards of successful leadership, but man, we want to hand out many more of those. We want more successful leaders in our country. I just want to hear from you. You've mentioned indirectly a lot of what you're doing there, I must say, but man, anything you want to add or ask before we throw that question at Rogers? Just unmute.
Sorry, Rogers, the one essence that's always amazed me all the years of writing about leadership is the various forms of intelligences we speak about. Psychologists define it differently, but one kind of intelligence that you need when you operate at your level is a context intelligence. Now, this boils down to one's affinity with divinity as a major context, who you are, as we discussed fruitfully with you, and all the other keeping the balloons in the air. And that's why we enjoy so much speaking to authentic leaders. They have this context intelligence. Often the facts tell them one thing, and the intuition tells me something else. But you reveal a handsome endowment of context intelligence. And this is a warming experience because leaders like that are really will keep the country from going over the edge. So I really enjoy listening to your analysis of what's happening around you.
Thank you.
Thank you, old man. Okay, mentoring, developing, multiplying more successful leaders. When you grow a business, you already give opportunity for people to lead. It's fine to go and study about leadership. It's another thing to actually learn through practicing it. That's a wonderful opportunity for expansion, not just of business and jobs, but developing people. So I do pick up on that. What are your thoughts on getting more successful leaders out there, Rogers?
I think it's critical. It's very critical. I think for me and for us as an organization, I started it at a very early age, or very early stage rather, of the business, where I said One Connect was a platform. I wanted to utilize it as a platform where people who want to make a change, want to make a difference, want to add value, can come into that platform and utilize the platform for creating value. That's what I've always done. In our life as a business thus far, we've been able to incubate, and I'm using that term loosely because it's not necessarily an incubation, doesn't come with all the challenges of incubation, but we've created a platform where guys or girls that have got ideas, business ideas, that can come in and be in an environment where at least there's a if you know what I mean, there's something underneath your feet. You're not going to fall, and be able to get that idea going. And some have been successful, I must say. Some have not been successful, but that's okay. That's okay. There may be 10 unsuccessful, and there may be 2 that are absolutely stunning. And we've been able to discover gems, and we continue to do that. For me, I continue to talk to people. I continue to I have open arms for people that have got business ideas. They want to be guided. They want to be helped. Because the more we can get, the more businesses we can get. I repeat, even if they are employing 2 people, it's sufficient, because that's 2 people that are employed. And then if we can get 1,000 of those, that's 2,000 people that are employed. And all of a sudden, we're making a big change. And I believe that's the space where it's not government. It's not necessarily government that's going to do this. It's those guys that are going to be making the difference in our employment. Another thing that's critical is to not necessarily incubate, but give people an opportunity to provide a service. I think we had a meeting many moons back with the CEO of a top organization in the country. I think is one of the top 40 JSE listed companies. And when we were talking with him, I don't know if you remember this conversation, when we were talking with him, he said they raised R1 billion in one night for small businesses. And he could link me up as a business at the time. He could link me up with those businesses so I can get funding. And I said, no, I don't want funding. At where we are as a business, I don't want funding. Funding comes with a lot of red tape, a lot of, you tie me down. Literally, you tie the growth and you stifle the growth of the business. What I want an opportunity to provide a service. If you can give me an opportunity to provide a service in your business, guess what? I've got a reference customer, number one. Number two, I'm earning revenue. Number three, I'm building a competence as a business. And then I can go to the next customer and I can use you as a reference. And that's how we grow. And we need to be able to provide that for those, for the upcoming entrepreneurs. The worst thing you can do, you start up a business and you don't have a market, or you've got an opportunity, but people don't want to give you an opportunity because you don't have experience. Because you don't have experience, you'll never gain experience, and it becomes a vicious cycle. And I think for me that's important. For us as One Connect, we look at helping services that we don't necessarily do ourselves. We get others to come in under our wings, and they provide those services through us. And that if we do that, we're building businesses. And besides, we're talking to what ultimately needs to build the economy of the country, and we can only build it if we do things like that. So apart from just having individuals within the organization, those are the things that we do, that I do. Obviously, I participate in people's boards. Those that ask me, I don't like to be in boards, but there's young upcoming companies that want you to help out. I'm very happy to do that. I've had many people in my office here that I've sat with and be able to guide and help them to create a path where they can become a viable business. And when they succeed, it's thrilling, man. It's really exciting.
Yeah. We can't finish this conversation. I know you lead outside of the work environment as well. You're not just in the work environment, and I won't explore that right now. But you're now the MD, so you've moved out to chairman, okay, and your business is growing through a professional CEO and executive, and now you kind of get back into something there called MD of One Connect. By the way, I like the connectors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that takes root in the business, to say we're connectors. I think that's because connecting with one another, connecting with clients, connecting, growing the business. Is such power in that word, and I'm sure you guys know it. But I just want you to know that connected with me.
Yeah,
Rogers, One Connect education. I know we can probably spend another hour on this, but we don't have that. So just give us a minute or two or three. Just what passion do you have there that has pulled you back into almost operational in a sense? What's that about?
Connectors, well done, Temi and the team for coming up with that.
Yeah.
For in 2019, when we brought in our CEO, I was done. I wanted to go do teaching. So I applied at University of Johannesburg as a professor of trade in their 4R department. Yeah.
Famous last
That's what I wanted to go. That's what I wanted to go do. And I love it. It's a funny story, but anyway, then I had an opportunity as well, where I met up with an international partner who was providing education technology solutions. A few years back, as a company, I built a solution. We built a solution as One Connect called Sithole. Sithole is a township term for school. So we built a solution called Sithole that we're going to use to help teachers in class mark, register, and help young kids connect. It was going to be the Facebook of the school. And then the guys that we took it to, they just rubbished us. They didn't really like it. And then when this opportunity came in, I felt, okay, wait a minute. So instead of me going to go teaching, I can actually use technology to do exactly what I wanted to go teach. And then we did that. So we started that, and then I built up the business, the One Connect education business, where it was successful. We even won awards, international awards with our partners. And at that point, I said, Mr. CEO, thank you very much. I've done my job. I've started this little thing. There it is. It's yours. Good luck. Run with it. And then I went off again to play golf. And then he calls me, he says, my guy, I have been looking for a managing director of this business, someone for a GM for the business. I'm struggling to find a person who has got the passion that you have for education. Please come back and run this business. And I said, we're going to have a challenge if I do that. I mean, how do we manage? Now I work for you, but I'm the chairman, but I work for you. We're going to have a challenge there. And anyway, eventually, for what's best for the business, I went back in, and I mean, it's been incredible. This year we won the best partner of the year, international partner of the year. We won the best marketing partner across the whole globe. I mean, like fighting across partners across international platform. Thanks to Umpo, who's our marketing director. She's amazing. And we went to Scotland as part of those awards that we got. And for me, it's not the awards. What is the crux of what we're doing? Yeah. I'm saying that I come from an environment where if my parents did not say, go to school, even if he was retrenched, go to school. If I didn't have that opportunity to go to school, I would not be sitting here with you today. And I believe that in the continent of Africa, we've got quite a lot of kids that unfortunately they are doomed. However, they've got an opportunity to get out of the cycle which they're in. And that cycle, they can only get out through education. Now, the sad part is this, Adriana. No, we don't have time. The sad part is this. During the COVID period, do you know that during COVID? And now of that 40 weeks, the people that were affected the most, according...
You cut out there for a moment. No, there was just a blip in the... Just say that again.
Okay. I'm saying during COVID, do you know that 40 weeks of teaching and learning were lost? 40 weeks were lost. Of the people that were affected are the people that needed that education the most, which are the ones that are coming from disadvantaged environments. They were unable to go to school. So they were told, stay at home, you can't go to school. My kids, for example, they're privileged. They were able to carry on with schooling online. Yeah. But the guys that needed that schooling the most were unable to go to school because they don't have the finances, they don't have the means. And those are the people that need to get that education. So we talk about democratizing education. What we mean by that is we want education. We want every child in the African continent to have good access to good quality education, independent of where they are and independent of their financial status. And we can only do that by using technology. There's Adrian, who is a brilliant history teacher, who is sitting in wherever you're sitting. And there's a student who's sitting in a remote village somewhere. I can connect you guys through tech. And that's what we're trying to do. Now, there are infrastructural challenges, but we're coming together with government, we're coming together with private partnerships, and we are able to make this difference and we're able to make this change. This is true for basic education, this is true for higher education, and this is true for even professionals who are wanting to develop themselves even further. That's what we're doing at One Connect Education. I mean, we have supported many universities in the country during the pandemic that they were able to carry on teaching during the time when students couldn't go to school. We are not going back to the pre-COVID times. We're not. We are carrying on. We are having, we've seen institutions that are having a hybrid model where, some kids go in, some kids don't go into school. And, universities or institutions rather can grow without having to build brick and mortar. They don't have to do that anymore. They can leverage technology to grow their footprint. Wits University or whatever university now can have students across the whole continent, not necessarily having to have those students in Pretoria. If you're Pretoria University, for example, who's our customer, there's no need for that. You can be able to be anywhere. You break down the walls. We need to break down the walls and have every kid have access to good quality education independent of where they are. That's what we're doing. And for me, that is quite passionate. The reason why I agreed to go back and to drive it and run it is because it's absolutely close to my heart. We build schools in Mozambique. We're helping kids in remote areas. For me, that is what I wanna see ultimately, apart from the profits.
Okay, well, you got us excited. The connector thing is brilliant. Now you're connecting expertise, teachers with kids, and what a beautiful word, eh? I'm glad you're leveraging that. let's bring this to an end. Thank you for that. I'm glad we touched on it, and I see your passion, and I'm very excited for what you're doing there. Old man, maybe wrap up some thoughts, and then Rogers, I'm going to ask you to give a final message to leaders, just a succinct message to young leaders, whoever you choose to give the message to. Old man, unmute.
Arjun, I'm at peace with what we discussed, and I'm thrilled at the direction Roger's going, and hopefully we can also be very good connectors. It's a beautiful expression. Thanks, Rogers. It's been a pleasure sitting with you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Successful Leadership, thank you so much for your time. Your message to leaders out there.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you so much. I think for me, Adrian, the one thing that I would leave the leaders out there, young leaders, experienced leaders, is succession planning is something we talk about inherently in every organization. And the question is, what are you doing as a leader? What is your succession planning per leadership? Not necessarily in the organization. As Rogers, who am I leaving to become the next leader? And I think if we can think of that in our own little families, we can think in our organizations, we can think in our communities, we can think in our societies, we can think in the country, we can think in the world. You can see what this is doing. You know, it's not just about one leader. Now we're going to be creating, a plethora and quite a huge pool of leaders. And I think for me, that's quite important. We need to give people chances. I wish more leaders could give others more chances. I think if we can get that going, where people can give others chances, it will be absolutely great. Instead of, I wish we could have a yes day where all leaders, for every young entrepreneur that comes to your door on a yes day, he gets a yes in terms of what it is that they're presenting your way. And I think we can create a big pool where entrepreneurship can thrive in the country, and we can get entrepreneurship thriving. Unemployment, which is I'm quite passionate about, we're going to get people employed. If we get people employed, people are going to be participating in the economy. Our economy will grow. There's no magic wand. That's what has to happen, and it's going to have to start with all of us. Let us not be forced into systems. We don't have to be forced into systems. We can create systems. Let's create our own systems. Where we can be able to do what I'm saying, where we can be able to help the young and coming, and be able to leave a clear succession plan or a clear succession pool from a leadership perspective. Adrian, thank you so much. I really appreciate you and appreciate the old man for honoring me today. I really appreciate it.
I want us to just end with this exclusive recognition of Successful Leadership awarded to Rogers Sithole for several reasons, and also now for running One Connect Education. So we'll end with that. That's Me Vision Academy. Thank you, Rogers Sithole, and continue building. May you never play golf, and just keep building, creating opportunities.
Brandon, no. Golf, please.
I'm hoping here's that. Golf once or twice a week is fine, but just keep building and bringing that passion to this country, this continent, this world that needs it so desperately. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.